Hi, how are you? This is Anthony from Cypher House Escape, and I'm back with the next puzzle from the Red Dot Hunt 2018. Today we're doing case number 8, a case worth re-examination. I wonder what this one has for us. This was supposed to be a simple case, but it seems things are not as they should be. Alright, so immediately it looks like we have some kind of crossword puzzle that we're going to need to fill out. And these are all of our clues. So the first step for this kind of puzzle should probably be to try to solve the clues, and then see if we can fit the answers into this grid in some way. Given the sentence written here, I'm going to guess that it's not going to be very easy to just fit these answers directly into this grid. Your next question would probably be, what do we do after we put all the answers in the grid? Well, I think that's where these numbers come into play. This isn't like an ordinary crossword puzzle where all of the across and down answers are given a number and then the clues are given a corresponding number to help you place the word. In this puzzle, the numbers sometimes show up in the middle of the words, and so that tells me that our final answer, or at least a hint to our final answer, is going to be spelled out by whatever letters go in these boxes. So first things first, I'm going to work on solving these clues. I think, as with puzzles we've seen before, the numbers in parentheses afterwards are a hint as to the length of the answer that we're looking for. I'm going through trying to figure out the answers to some of these clues, and it seems that each clue has two parts. So the first part of this clue is a frosty sculpture with a carrot nose. That's almost definitely snowman, and snowman has 7 letters, just like the second part of our clue suggests it should. But we also need some word that means a 6-pack, and it's a little bit confusing as to what that could be. But if we take a look at some other clues, for example, the Greek hero's steering device, a very common type of steering device is a wheel, like a steering wheel, and a wheel is 5 letters long, as it should be. If we do a Google search for Greek heroes, the most common Greek hero is Achilles, which happens to be exactly 8 letters, like we need for the first part of our clue. So we can be pretty confident that this clue solves to the phrase Achilles' wheel. And what's interesting about that is that this sounds a lot like the very common 2-word saying Achilles' heel. So what I think they're doing is I think they're coming up with puns on 2-word sayings or 2-word phrases, and that's what the clues are referring to. So if we think of a common 2-word phrase involving the word snowman, one that comes to mind is the abominable snowman. If we're looking for a 9-letter word that references a 6-pack, something that sounds a lot like abominable is the word abdominal, which is a 9-letter word for a 6-pack. And it actually bodes well for us that these are going in alphabetical order. It tells me that likely all of our answers for these clues are going to be given in alphabetical order. That's probably why they chose this particular ordering for the clues. So I'm going to go through and solve as many of these as I can, and then we'll figure out if we can find a way to fit these into the grid. I've remade the grid setup here within Excel, and I've put where all the numbers are supposed to go, and I've left spot at the bottom of the grid here for us to start filling in the letters as we place the words within the grid. So our final answer should be spelled out right down here at the end of all of this. I've also counted how many letters are in each word that goes within the grid here, and tallied up how many of each kind of word that we need. That should help us keep track as we solve these clues of what words we have and what words we still need. As for what words are eventually going to go into the grid, I think it's going to be the correct word that goes within the 2-word phrases. So remember how we had Achilles' wheel as an answer to one of our hints? I think the word heel, which completes the normal phrase Achilles' heel, is what's going to ultimately go into the grid here. I could be wrong about that, but that's my current guess. I'm still working on decoding some of these clues, but fortunately with a few of them that turned out to be pretty easy to solve, such as Abominable Snowman, Alcoholics Anonymous, and Decaffeinated Coffee, I found that I'm able to start filling in the grid on this page because those happen to be the 3 longest words, so we can automatically just put them into the grid based on their length. Decaffeinated, for example, is 13 letters long, and so it has to go down here in this space that's 13 letters long. The number 2 is in the middle of this word, and it's over top of the letter E. So we know that the letter E is going to go down here for the number 2. The number 16 is over top of the A in abominable, and the number 12 is over top of the A in anonymous. So we're again going to put an A down here for the number 12. So all we have to do is solve some more of these clues, get some more of the words, and then we can fill in the grid a little more. I'm still working on solving a few of these clues, but I've gotten quite a few more, including Sympathy Orchestra is an instrumental ensemble that plays when it feels sad for people. And the common two-word phrase that goes along with that is Symphony Orchestra. Special shout out to Liz for helping me get that one. I also realized that I had a spelling mistake in the word abominable, which makes this letter an M. And so symphony almost certainly goes here. So I'm going to add it to the grid, and that means we have the letter H for 7 here. At this point I have all of the 6-letter words, and there's 2 6-letter words that fit in here and here. With an A being the second to the last letter, this one has to be jigsaw, and that means that the number 1 goes with the J from jigsaw. This 6-letter word could still be 2 options. It could be tennis or ransom, and there's no way for us to know which one it is right now, so unfortunately, we have to leave it blank. Okay, so I've come up with solutions for most of these clues. The only 2 that I don't have solutions to right now are this one, the House of Worship for Heroic Transformers. This, party activities and campaigns to make America great cheese again. But that's okay, because we should be able to start filling in some more of the grid at this point. We're basically missing these 2 8-letter words. In this grid off to the side, we have a 7-letter word running across, and we have this 4-letter word going down. Together they share this letter in common, so that's either the second letter of the word obvious, which is a B, or the O from worship. Now, none of the 4-letter words end with a letter B, but oleo does end with the letter O. So I'm thinking oleo and worship are the 2 that go in these spots here. That gives us an O for number 4, and a W for number 9. It also tells us that the word tennis goes here, which gives us a letter T for 13, and the word heel goes in this 4-letter word. So that gives us an H for number 10. We only have one 7-letter word left, and it has to fit in here, so I'm going to fill that one in. So we get the V from obvious. The 4-letter word that goes here has this letter intersecting with the second letter of this 6-letter word. Both 6-letter words that we have left have an A in that position, so this has to be an A, which means that 4-letter word is slam, and the 4-letter word down here is sour, so that gives us an S for 17 and an S for 18 as well. It also tells us that the word walrus is going to go in this vertical column, and so we have an S for number 8, and so this missing 6-letter word that we couldn't fill in earlier has to be ransom, giving us an R. At this point, it starts to get a little bit challenging to put in these 8-letter words because we have 2 that we know nothing about. But if we look down here, we see we actually are starting to have enough letters to fill out the rest of this phrase. So if you want to take a moment, you can pause the video and see if you can figure out Wheel of Fortune style what this final phrase is going to be. I'm going to say what it is in 3, 2, and 1. To me, this looks a lot like Jehovah's. I'm putting the letters down below so that we can fill them in when we find the correct ones. And then this last word, we would expect it to be witness, but keeping in with the theme of the puzzle, being 2-word phrases that are just slightly off, this actually looks like it's going to be wheatgrass. And so the final answer to the puzzle is most likely the correct word that goes in here, just like we've been doing this whole time, and it's likely witness. So let's try witness here for this puzzle. That's correct. No slip of the tongue could slip you up. Awesome. So we finished that puzzle. Let's take a quick look back at the things we've missed. This is advocate, and that means number 11 is an E, which is the letter we guessed. And we have the word eligible, which must go down here, which means number 14 is a G, and again, that's the letter that we guessed. So I could sit around and guess for a while at what these last 2 words are and what the solution to the 2 clues that I couldn't figure out are going to be, but in the interest of keeping this video on the shorter side, I'm going to just consult the solutions here. So the House of Worship for Heroic Transformers. We were right with Autobots, and church was correct. Ah, the Orthodox Church. That makes sense. I hadn't thought of that. And the party activities and campaigns to make America great cheese again are Parmesan politics. Okay, so grated cheese was the clue for Parmesan, and everything else was the clue for politics, and that was supposed to clue us the word partisan politics. Okay, I can see how that works out. Thanks again to the Red Dot team for coming up with all these great puzzles. If you guys have any other puzzle content that you'd like to see me do, after I'm wrapping up the Red Dot hunt, I'm going to be looking for other series, other types of puzzles, other things that people want to see. So send me your suggestions or post them down in the comments below. Alright, thanks for watching, and as always, happy escaping.